I recently read this book on speed reading written by Cam Kenite, and in this video I will give you a summary of this book, starting with the introduction, then certain pre-reading techniques and certain speed reading techniques while you are reading the actual content, and certain things you have to avoid. Your eyes contain around 12 million photoreceptors, and for the same reason 90% of the information we receive are visual, and 65% of our brain capacity is used to process this visual information. So our eyes can capture a lot of details about the objects very easily as compared to the text which is available in the books. So this book answers the same question, that how we can process text as objects in order to increase our reading speed to a limit that we could read 200 pages in 1 hour. So there are certain things you have to do before starting reading. First of all, you have to establish the purpose of your reading, and you have to establish the importance of the book you are going to read. It will increase your interest and thus create more focus and concentration while you are reading this book. After establishing this purpose, you have to take a preview of the book in order to have visibility of entire subject. So you will skim through the book, and you will skim through table of content, first and last para of each chapters, and any important illustration. So this preview will validate the purpose of reading which you have established earlier, and then you can decide whether to read the book or not. Moreover, it will also increase your reading speed, as you can make predictions about the text which you are going to experience in this book. Now there are certain techniques for speed reading. First of all, writer says that the reading speed depends upon the difficulty of the material you are going to read. And once talking about the techniques, the main technique is chunking. So either you can chunk or group words, or you can chunk or group spaces in order to read them all together as if you are reading a single word. So here is an example of grouping the words and reading the chunks of words as if they are a single word. And similarly you can do the same thing with spaces. So either you can read chunk of words, or you can combine multiple spaces between the words. Another thing you can do is you can increase your peripheral ranges of your sight. So what you have to do is you will focus in the center of the page, and then you will read one word, two word, or three word which are adjacent to the central line. So you will skip reading the words which are at the edge of the pages on either side, and you will just read the words which are adjacent to the central line. So it depends upon your peripheral range, that how much words you can read which are adjacent to the central line of the page. So actually you will read vertically instead of horizontally. Now after reading a chapter, you will recall the important points, and then you will take a review of the chapter. in order to maintain the comprehension of entire book or subject. One of the problem we experience while reading something is daydreaming. So we start visualizing something else instead of the text which is in front of us, and we lose focus. So writer says that in order to counter that, you can visualize the text as reading it instead of visualizing something else. One thing writer recommends is increasing your vocabulary by taking help from different speakers, or by listening to audiobooks, or by using dictionary for difficult words. One important thing is that you should take breaks if you are reading for a longer period of time in order to refresh your eyes and regain your focus. Now, most important thing is practice. So, even if you are not good in speed reading and you are experiencing uh, problems while in order to adopt the techniques which I have earlier mentioned, you should practice regularly. And there are different exercises available in the book which you can use to practice, because it will take time to break your old habits and to rebuild your new habits. Now, there are certain things you should avoid. Uh, First thing is sub vocalization. It means that you try to speak the words while reading a book loudly, or maybe in a low tone. So it decreases your reading speed. So, in order to avoid this sub vocalization, you should keep your mouth closed, or if you cannot close it, then you should hum instead of speaking the text you are reading. Or you can also read faster than you normal speak, or you can use loud music while you are reading a book in order to curb your own voice. So these are the techniques to avoid sub vocalization. Another thing you have to avoid is regression, which means reading the same sentence or word again. So there are certain techniques to avoid this. First of all is index card sliding. So you can use an index card and you can place it at the line which you just read, and then while you are reading it a next line, then you can slide this index card down, so it will prevent you from reading the text you just read. Or you can also use your index finger for tracking the text, and it will avoid fixating on a same line and rereading the same line. So uh, once you will avoid, uh, you will use index card, or maybe your index finger, then your mind would be more attentive while you are reading the sentence for the first time, because it knows that you are not going to read it again. Now, one thing you have to avoid is jumping on the words. So, your eyesight jumps on the word horizontally while you are reading a text. So, you have to avoid this, and you have to move your eyes in a continuous manner. And you can use your index finger to do that. Another thing is that you should not be lost in the details, and you have to maintain the overall comprehension of the book. So, this was all from my side. Thank you.